of all the days. Okay, we're back live now. Can everyone see us and hear us?
Do I need to like sing and dance?
Yeah, that might do it.
I don't know. Let's wait. Let's wait for people to say that they can see us or hear us, maybe. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Woohoo.
Fantastic. We're back. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Not sure quite what happened there. No appearance of any errors or anything. So that seems like we had some sort of server issue with the Contrast platform. I'll have to reach out to them and find out what happened. All right, let's hope it holds stable again. Thank you all for sticking with us. Sorry, Lee, to interrupt. Kick your slides back off. Let's get back stuck into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I've rehashed what kind of where we are today. So we've been building for the last 12 to 15 months. We've had a great round of beta. Some of the people who were in our beta are actually in the chat. Thank you guys so much for your valuable feedback. It really was super valuable to us. So we are live in Australia today. We are going to roll out to New Zealand and South Africa in the near future. We wanted to make sure that we'd embedded Australia down, that it was, working very well. We are still busy with Xero on our certification, and I actually chatted to them this morning just to see where we are. They've got a major influx of that. So it won't necessarily impact for those people who want to, trial and connect their Xero XPM or Xero Ledger. We do have a limit on that. We are working with Xero to kind of get that over the line as quickly as possible. And at this point we're really in that build, that startup phase. So we're building super quickly. We're listening to the feedback. So even if you've got a free trial and you're something's not giving you the right feel, or you're looking for something to be added, please reach out. I'm super open to the feedback. Myself and my team are trying to really solve the problems that we can to everybody. So that kind of really sums up, where we are today. I guess, what is the platform and its kind of core? So at its core, we have the kind of four main pillars, or pictured here by the star. My co-founder thought it would be a great idea to have a star. So, it's engagements, it's payments, it's client onboarding, and something that's not necessarily done right now is actually the ability to do an ethical letter. So while not necessarily relevant to our bookkeeping friends, right? But for our accounting friends, it's quite an important one. So being able to do all of this in one workflow. So when you're doing an engagement, which I'll take you through in a little bit, being able to, send an engagement, do an ethical at the same time, being able to onboard someone, all of that, and then take payment up front. So if you're taking payment up front, or you even want to deploy jobs to XPM, there's a whole range of different things that we can do. I'm not going to cover every single thing today. I'm more than happy to take people through recordings if and when they want them. But yeah, so these are kind of, I think, the core, basis of what the platform was built on. And that's really where we want to focus and where we want to be great. So I think the next thing is, the question, why Pinch? And never mind the points that are kind of on screen there, but it was when we were looking at payment providers, we wanted to be able to have these kinds of interactions. We wanted to have communication. We wanted to be able to work with a team who's trying to solve the same problems that we're trying to solve. And, when it came down to it, the Pinch team are just, never mind all the cool things that their platform does, with the integrations into Xero and Mile and the likes. But the fact that, DK, who's in the chat right now, is a human being who will respond to my emails at 10 o'clock at night when I've got an API issue or, an API question, Joe and Cameron, who are just, amazing human beings. I think that was the big kicker for us on why Pinch, is they're just an amazing bunch of human beings. And realistically, it allowed us to just accelerate the speed at which we built. And we realized that our missions were almost aligned. So we win, Pinch wins, we win. So it was almost a no-brainer once we got talking, that we really wanted to, work together. And I think what we have right now in the current release product is absolutely amazing for being able to take credit card payments or direct debits, whether that's up front, any of that stuff. Sorry, DK, if I just sold you a doozy. Chat, please don't, get hold of DK at late at night. I'll save that for our Slack channel. Oh, but I shouldn't have said you're on Slack either. Sorry, DK. Your phone's probably blowing up right now. So I'm also a person who doesn't want to kill you with slides. I think the proof is really in the pudding. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to move over to a product demo. And I think at this point in time, like if you've got questions, that's absolutely amazing. I don't want to try and break the flow. I want to try and get through things. If there's things that you'd like to see more of, questions you have, please, you can put them in the chats. We'll try and leave time at the end to actually take you through everything. If you see me jumping between different mailboxes, it's purposeful because we're going to do a lot. So I'm going to onboard a new client, send them an engagement. I'm going to pretend that I'm an accountant getting an ethical. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of different things simultaneously. But realistically, what you're seeing on the screen right now is the OnboardMe dashboard. What we do is we show you kind of the requests per month, so you can see what's been happening, how many clients have you onboarded, how many ethicals, engagements, that kind of thing. Your notifications, so each time an ethical gets completed or an onboarding gets completed, anything like that, you get a notification. You can mark it as read, you can automatically view it. On the right-hand side, you can see the outstanding requests, and you can see it at a kind of a bird's eye view, or you can actually look at the detail and be able to see each item individually, and you can see, oh, these are all of our outstanding onboardings, or these are all of our outstanding engagements, and these are mine. I can also look at it like practice-wide. So yeah, it really allows you to kind of see everything within the system. So some of the key things really to look at is our integration. So right now we have integrations into Xero Practice Manager and Xero Ledger. What's currently in the oven, which you can see on my screen, is FYI. We're building into FYI Elite and Mile Practice Management. So that'll kind of come through in our bit. But we do a two-way integration with Xero Practice Manager and Xero Ledger. So you can create clients in either system and they will sync both ways. You can sync groups between OnboardMe and XPM. And then we also map things like tax rates and sales items between us and Xero Ledger. And what that means is when you're creating bills inside of Xero, that you're getting the right allocation code and the right GL account when we push those invoices through. What you also see here is you see the practice side or the business side, and it's a OnboardMe branded experience. But you also have the ability, sorry, if I go to the branding page, is to actually set up your own branding. So you can specify a primary color, a secondary color, and also where the logos are aligned. And then you can upload your own logo. So for today, I've used Dunder Mifflin because everyone loves The Office. If you don't, see me after. We can have a chat about that. But realistically, your clients or the previous accountant, depending on the flow that you're doing, will see a fully branded experience for your business. So your logo, your colors, all of that translates into our onboarding, our engagement, all of that stuff. So yeah, in the business section, you can kind of set up your business name, ABN, who the system owner is, your address. You can also do a whole bunch of background settings, like do you want bank account details? What is your tax agent? What are your tax agent details? And this is important when we get into the client onboarding bits. Your payment details, of course, so your payment vendor, Pinch. Do you want to do transaction surcharging? Yes or no? Also, what kind of payment options do you want to provide to customers? Do you want them to be able to do credit card? Do you want them to be able to do direct debit? Or just both? And then what are the due date for your invoice? And this becomes super important. Super important for those who, when we get into automatic billing. I see that, we still have some people who are having issues. Hopefully you'll be able to catch the automated recording afterwards. So what I want to do now is I want to take you guys into the core workflow, the kind of the crux of what we do, which is I want to engage a new client, and we're then going to engage them. We're going to take upfront payment for those of you who are upfront payment kinds of people. And then we're also going to get them to onboard themselves and do an ethical at the same time. So what I'll do is I'm in my engagement screen here. You can see we have statuses for everything. So as it's opened, as it's sent, all of that stuff is handled here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new engagement. When I'm in the engagement screen, the system asks me, do I want to send this to a new client or do I want to engage an existing client? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to a new client. I've run out of names, so we'll call this person Joe Taylor. I couldn't think of anything better. So what I'm going to do is use my Gmail account or a Gmail account, put in a mobile number. So now we have, these are the core details that we require in order to send a client on onboarding, a new engagement. So cool, I can say client selection, great, next. So do we want to send an ethical letter, yes or no? So you can use these as one big workflow. You can also do them in isolated things within the app. So I'm going to say, yes, I want to send an ethical immediately when sending the engagement. Cool, who we're sending it to. So we're sending it to Joe McCord. Joe is going to be using another Gmail account. The client is Joe Taylor, and the partner will be me. So you can customize the engagement letters, the templates, all of that stuff directly out. So here you can also customize the letter as you're going. So here we can see the email address, all of that stuff. You can customize the ethical that gets sent out. Once we're happy we've set up the ethical, we can say next. Yes, do we want to do a client onboarding at the same time? Yes, so I'm going to say I want to do a client onboarding. It's immediately picked up Joe Taylor and it's set him up as an individual. You can also specify other entity types, or Joe will be able to do that when he onboards himself. We have this flag here that says our tax details required. So do we want the client's TFN and do we want them to do upload ID verification documents during the onboarding process? So once I'm happy with this, next, and then how many people or how many signatures or acceptances do we need for this engagement? So for now, I'm just going to leave it as one. So Joe will be doing his own kind of acceptance. If there were more than one to sign, that is built into the flow. You can just add additional signatories into the flow. But I'll leave it as Joe for now. So what we can do is we can now give the engagement a name. So we can set an expiry date. So if Joe doesn't access this by a particular date, it becomes null and void. We can specify the duration of this. We can also specify, does this engagement start on the date of acceptance or does it start on a specific date? We allow you to create a message that gets shown on the engagement as Joe accesses it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, because AI is all the buzz these days, I'm going to just ask AI to just generate a nice little preview for us. So dear Joe, you don't necessarily have to do this. This is probably the least important thing, but it allows you to kind of just get a customized message to the person who's landing on that engagement. So I can say, yes, use that response, great. Now, for those firms who may have people who, or admin people who are doing some of the work for them, they can set the engagement up for you and then they can send it to you for approval. So they can mark it as requires approval. They can specify you as the approver, and then you'll be able to just pick up the engagement, make any changes you want to, and then click out send. So once we're done with that, do we want them to do we want payment details? Yes, we do. So when you're setting up an engagement, you can choose to either use a template or you can select individual services and kind of build your own engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do bookkeeping and payroll. Now, each template is a combination of different services, and each service kind of has a frequency. So whether it's monthly, quarterly, or annually. So here we can see under monthly, I can see bookkeeping services. And if I expand bookkeeping services, here I can see the name, price, the tax amount. Do we want to apply a discount percentage to it? We can even apply a discount value. And then I can also add in like the details. So this is all fully customizable by you, but we pull this through from whatever templates you have set up. So once I'm happy that my engagement has the right services on it that we're going to provide to the customer, I can click on next. Because I have XPM enabled, I can say, do I want to deploy jobs to XPM? Yes, great. So based on the services that I had selected, it will automatically suggest jobs for me. So we can map engagement services to XPM job templates. So you can go and deploy a job template automatically once the client's been onboarded. You can also come in and just manually create your own job. So Pinch demo, and then you can choose to do that from a job template, or you can do that manually from the tasks that you have in XPM. So you will, if you want to maintain those templates, you do need to do that inside of XPM, and we will sync those down. But it allows you that on engagement acceptance and onboarding that you'll actually be able to deploy this. So what I'll do is I'll leave this job here to be deployed. So great. So do we want to set up billing? Yes, we do want to set up billing. So what we'll do is based on the services that you've set up and the frequency, we will come and we will suggest to you bills for you to create. So we'll go and create pro formas, and each pro forma is a combination of the frequency in the services that you had selected. So here we can see bill for monthly services, and here we have bookkeeping, payroll, and IAS. And if I expand that out, here we can see the actual line item detail for each of those invoices. So you can come in, you can fully customize what the invoice will look like. What happens here is once this invoice is paid, we will actually sync it through to Xero with the line items that you've selected. Over here, you can also see the sales item that will be attached when we push this through to Xero. So fully customizable, you can remap it at this point if you want to. You can also say, well, what is the date of the invoice? So today's date. What is the payment due date? So what we're doing is in the future, we will be automatically we daily sync invoices to Xero Ledger. So at the time of payment in an engagement, any invoices or pro formas that have been billed up front, we will push through to Xero. Anything that needs to sync through to Xero, we will do daily. And in a future release, not too far away, when the due date comes around, we will automatically take payments from the customer's preferred payment method, whether that be direct debit or credit. You can manually click a button right now and actually take payment if you'd like to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, pro forma number one, I want to bill this up front. Yes. How much upfront do we want to bill? So I'm going to say 100%, 50%. I can also split the bill by percentage. I can also turn this into a recurring invoice. So because we know it's from the monthly services, we'll go and we'll automatically create recurring invoices for you at a particular start date with the recurrence that you want done. So once you've set up your billing, I'm happy. I want $9.90 upfront. Great. So I'm going to say next. You can now set up your terms, and terms we have a basic template. You can also upload a PDF copy if you've got a fully branded experience. If you don't select a template here, then your PDF will show to your customer when they're accepting the engagement. So what I'll do is I'll just select our AU template. Next. So the last step we have in this process is the proposed engagement. So this kind of just allows me to bird's eye view everything that's happening. I can see the different services, all of that stuff, great. And I can now say save, or I can say send to client. So what I'll do is I'll say send to client. And that's now going, and it's sent that engagement out. It's also sent the ethical at the same time. So what I'll be able to do now, and just to double check my logic. Yep. Did get the right email address. I have a habit of not typing things correctly. So if I just, there we go. So I am now Joe. So as Joe, I'm going to, the fund company has sent you a new engagement. To access this engagement, click here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to copy the link, and I'll start a brand new private window because I want you to see the full kind of customer experience. So the first thing that we do is we ask Joe to just confirm his email address when he's trying to access the engagement. Cool. So we validated his email, And the first thing that pops up is that engagement message that we gave to Joe. So here we can see the message, all of that stuff. I can dismiss this. So now as Joe, I see a fully branded experience based on the colors that you'd set up in your branding, view message, all of that stuff. So here I can see the services that you're offering to me, who it was sent by, the company website, telephone number, all of that stuff that's been set up in business details. So we've tried to really translate the experience into a color fully customized, to your firm. So everything is done via like a wizard type approach or a stepper. So next, back, that kind of thing. So I can now click on next. Here I have the terms that we selected. If I try go next, the system is going to say that you need to read and accept our terms in order to proceed. So great, I've read and I accept the terms. I'm happy. Amazing. So now I get to the payment section. So at this point here, the system has said, oh, well, we generated 3 pro formas. One of them is marked as payable on acceptance. And if I click on it, I can now see the invoice or the pro forma. And I can also see, because we've elected to pass on surcharging, I can also see what those surcharging costs are by just flicking between the two. So down at the bottom here, we show what that surcharge is. And that'll be dependent on whichever payment method the customer elects to use when they accept this engagement. So cool, I'm happy with this. And now it'll be, payment details. So fund managed company has a payment gateway enabled using Pinch payments. Would you like to use a credit card or a bank account? So for the purposes of today, I'm going to use a credit card because we want that kind of instant payment. So what I need to do is just get my Cam's favorite number, the 424242. I can put in an expiry month. So we don't store this payment information. This is all managed by the legends over at Pinch. So there's none of that additional kind of PII living inside of OnboardMe or in different systems. So I can say, great, I'm going to submit my card details. And what we're doing now is we're actually in the background going and we're creating a payer in your Pinch merchant account. And we're going and automatically creating a payment source for them. So here you can see we now have a card on file. Great, amazing, that's cool. So I can go next. So now we're at the engagement acceptance. So it's going to ask me to type my name in. So Joe Taylor. Do we want to receive marketing comms? It's something that was asked for. And then I accept the proposal and I'm authorized to do so. So accept and pay. Again, we're just going to ask you again to confirm that you do want to pay this bill now. And if you had multiple, like if you'd set up a bank account and credit card, we would ask you which method you'd like to select. But because I've only selected credit card, I'm going to say pay now. And we're now going off to Pinch and we're doing a real-time payment of that invoice. So a couple of different things have happened now in the background. So that engagement has been accepted. Because we have said, hey, we want to do an onboarding straight after, we're now taking the client straight, we're taking Joe straight to that onboarding request. But we've actually gone in the background, we've created a contact in Xero Ledger, we've created an invoice, assigned it to that, and we've passed the invoice details to Pinch when we took that. So when the payment actually gets processed, Pinch will do the automatic payment and reconciliation inside of Xero. So again, what we're showing today is kind of the integration with Xero. Once we have our integrations with MYB and QuickBooks and the likes, My Practice Management, Greatsoft, we're hoping to kind of get that experience as close to what we have with Xero as end-to-end. So what I'll do is I'll just minimize being Joe for right now. Okay, can you create engagement and Pinch onboarding through here, but create invoices via XPM? So what's actually happening at Ali is if you have Xero Ledger and you have XPM both integrated and connected, when you create the invoice in Xero Ledger, that should automatically be going through to XPM. But we don't currently allow, you can't actually create invoices in XPM by the API, unfortunately. So we have to go via Xero Ledger. At this point in time, we're only creating invoices. We're not actually bringing any invoices down. When I get to the roadmap and the things that we want to build, I'll explain that in a bit more detail. But no, right now, you can't actually create the invoice physically in XPM. It needs to come via our system. So when and another question that's come up is Xero Ledger. Xero Ledger, Xero Blue, Xero Accounting. There's Xero Green, XPM, Xero Ledger, Xero Accounting. Sorry, my terminology there, I call it Xero Ledger, but Xero Blue, whichever you want to call it. Another one from Nathan. I'll definitely investigate once the integration with QBO is live. Looks great. Will the customer sync from Pinch back to QBO already once onboarded? So we will actually push them to QBO once we have our integration. So when we created the instigation of that kind of client creation was done through us. So yes, so we actually we initiate that creation. So it's not a Pinch to QBO thing. It's actually an OnboardMe to Pinch and QBO simultaneously. So yeah, so what I'll do is, and again, we'll have more time for questions at the end. Stacey, yes, you can use the onboarding functionality without the payment side. They do live inside in silos. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my second email. So here's the ethical clearance that we got. So hi, Joe. Fund managed company has sent you an ethical clearance for Joe Taylor. Click here to access the request. And all of this stuff gets handled, you know, so I'm now going to be the accountant. So I'm Joe. And here we can see the ethical letter, again, fully branded to your business. And when it's opened, we actually track that it's been opened. The same for engagements, if it has been opened, viewed, where, like the IP address that it's been viewed from, etc. So I'm now here. I can say, great. Is ethical letter? Yes, cool. So I can provide a response. No objection. I have an objection, or I will contact you directly. So I'm going to say no objection. It's a great client. And we also, because you are in most circumstances wanting documents from the previous accountant, we've also given you the ability to upload documents. So the documents that you upload here are secured. So once a document is uploaded, you won't actually be able to access it again. So here I'll just upload our Dunder Mifflin logo. So here you can see that it's been uploaded, but I can't actually access that document for security reasons. You will be able to access it on the OnboardMe side when you're a fully authenticated user. But because we don't want the previous accountant to have to set up an account just to do an ethical letter, we've allowed them to upload and delete, but there's no other option. So cool. Ethical letters here, and everything that we send out, sorry, I should have probably prefixed this at the beginning. So whether it's an engagement, an onboarding, or an ethical, you can set up automatic reminders. So in the business settings area, you have the ability to set up automatic reminders. You can send up to a maximum of 5 reminders, and you can choose the intervals. So do you want to remind them after 3 days and every 3 days, or do you want to remind them every day for 5 days? You have the option to do that, and you can specify if you want to do reminders just for ethicals or just for engagements. It's kind of your decision. Pick your path. So cool, we're happy. I'm no problems with this ethical, and thank you for your response. Great. And what's happening on the other side is I am getting emails to say an ethical has been completed, an engagement has been accepted. I'm also getting notifications, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back to Joe, and we've now completed our engagement. So now we're going to do our onboarding. So great, start my onboarding now. Now, because we're dealing with sensitive information like ABNs, ACNs, TFNs, we have put the onboarding process behind SMS 2FA and only SMS. So I've now got the code on my phone here. So Joe Taylor, your onboarding code is 487. Great. If you're a dark mode enthusiast like me, the entire app does switch into dark mode. It doesn't do well for presentations, but yes, the entire OnboardMe app can be done in dark mode. You can customize this welcome on board page to the text that you want to have. But I'm going to say, great, get on board. And we're now into the what we call the onboarding stepper or the onboarding wizard. So here we can see all the entities that have been flagged. I can create a new entity if I want to. So I'm going to add in a company, or I could add in an SMSF. But what I'll do is I'll just start with filling in my details. So my birth date, my place of birth, my gender, which is optional. So I'll leave it as male. So we have a place for director ID number, and we have a place for tax file number. And what we do is we do not like proper verification with the ATO to say that they're real numbers, but we do validate that they are real numbers. So if I put in a bogus number in the DIN and I try and go forward, well, firstly, the TFN is required. So if I try and put junk in there, it's going to say, no, director ID must be 15 digits and start with 036. So what I'll do is I'll just remove the director ID for now, and the same for TFN. So we do, TFN must be 8 or 9 digits. For the purposes of today, I'm going to say, sorry, my TFN is not required. So we do give the client, we don't want to block the process. They can say, I actually don't want to give you my TFN via this app. And I can move to the next step. So again, everything is done, and we save the progress as you go. So the client can come back to this link later on. Their 2FA SMS code, I think, is valid for 8 hours. They can re-request a new one if they want to. But yeah, so I can put in the email address that was sent to. So here I can now specify my address, and I can pick it from the search. And oh, is my postal address the same as my residential address? Yes, it is. Great, amazing. So I can just tick that and carry on. Next, bank account details. So what we can do is put in the BSB, and when you put the BSB in, we'll go and automatically look up the bank name for you. So put in a bank account number, and again, here the customer does the opportunity to say, no, they're not relevant, but ideally these are required more for tax refunds. So Joe Taylor, next, great. So because we have Pinch enabled, and if you were just doing onboarding alone with Pinch enabled, we still want that customer to create a billing profile. So we can say, oh yeah, I'll create a billing profile. But because we've come from an engagement, oh, we found a billing profile that you've already set up. Would you like to reuse that billing profile? Yes, or I can create a brand new one. So they don't have to recapture the card and all of that information that they've just set up. So cool, it's now pulled through the card that we used on my engagement, and this will now be stored against my client file in OnboardMe against Joe Taylor for as long as I'm a client. So here we get to the identity verification document section. So we don't do full ID verification at this point. We do allow the clients to upload either the primary identity document or 2 secondary documents. We are busy building the capability for you to request them to take a selfie. And we are also adding in a meeting link option so that they'll be able to book a meeting with your Calendly or something like that at this step so that you can cite the documents that they've uploaded to you. So again, I'll just select a document, go to Docs, go to Pictures, and I'll just use Dunder Mifflin again, put Dunder Mifflin. So there it is. There's the document uploaded, whether it be a PDF or anything like that. And we can see that that file has been uploaded now. Great. I can go through it. We have a general notes and document section. So I can just come in here and I can add random comments. This is great. And then again, as the client, I can upload documents, which you will be able to access when you're reviewing the onboarding request. So next, cool. I've completed Joe. So am I happy? Do I want to go in and set up another entity? So if I did just go in and specify another company, here you can see we'll show you the company fields. You can look up their ACN or their ABN using ABR lookup. What I'll do is I'll actually just remove this company so that we can just finish this onboarding process, and I can show you all the wonderful wizardry that has happened in the background. So again, I can submit this. Great, we do validation. Thank you for completing your onboarding process. Now the client can come back in and make changes to this onboarding request up until the point that you complete it. So what's happened now is that when you complete, when they submit the onboarding request, you get notified. So here I've got a whole bunch of emails. So there, the engagement has been accepted. So Joe has completed his onboarding request. Oh, that's amazing. So if I come back into OnboardMe now and I go to our dashboard, I could have just clicked the links in there. But here, down at the bottom, I've got all the notifications that have been given to me. So what I'll do is I'll now go to onboarding. Here we can see Joe Taylor. It's sitting as submitted. So what we require you to do is we require you to come in and just complete the onboarding process. So we're not automatically pushing this through to Xero Ledger or XPM. We're waiting for you to confirm the details that they've given you are correct. So you can see the same sort of wizard that they saw. You have the ability to make changes to this if you'd like to. But you can step through the process. Yep, are you happy? Great. On the verification step, so have you verified them yet? Yes or no? The date that you verified them on, the method that you used, so documents were checked, and who was the person that actually verified them, and you can add in verification notes. Great, happy. You can also save your progress at any moment in time. You can see the notes and docs. Cool, Joe, and we can now complete this process. You also have the ability to download a PDF, which is a PDF version of the details that they gave you for those who want to file it in your DM system. When we integrate with DM systems, we will eventually push this out into that relevant DM system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark this onboarding as being complete. Yes, this belonged to an engagement. So all we're doing is we're saying, hey, Joe has given us an entity. Is it the same person who you sent the engagement to? Yes. Because you can do multiple entities, we do want you to just create that link. Because what happens is we created that contact in Xero Ledger, so to create the invoice. So what I'll do is I'll say proceed, and everything's gone and been created. So now if I go to my client section and I search for Joe Taylor, here we can see Joe Taylor is now an individual in our system. Here's all the details that were captured. And we've also got an XPM and a Xero Ledger button. So if I click on Xero Ledger, it will take us now to that contact that has been created in Xero Ledger. Here's the details that we added, and I can also go and look at the activity. So there's the invoice that was paid up front. Once the payment process has been run and all of that, it will move into being paid, and it'll then be automatically reconciled by the legends over at Pinch. And the same goes for XPM. So now if I go to XPM, I can now see Joe Taylor, and inside of XPM, we can see that the job that we had selected has now been deployed to XPM automatically. So depending on how much time you want to spend in the setup process, it really allows you to kind of get a lot done once the client has finished that onboarding and engagement process. So a couple of other different things. You've got notes and documents. You've got that ID verification. The documents that they upload, we automatically burn after 7 days. So after you've completed this onboarding request, these documents are automatically burned in 7 days. So yeah, amazing. So a whole bunch of other stuff within the app, and I'm hyper conscious of time and questions, but one thing that you can also do is you can come and see a quick history. So here's that payment that we took from Joe Taylor, so the credit card. From within our platform, you also have the ability to refund that amount, and we'll push that refund process through Pinch. And the invoices too. So for pro forma invoices, as an example, here's the other two for Joe that we had. So here's the 473, and what I'll do is I'll just push this through to Xero. This would automatically get done every day, but you can also, we would automatically push it through. I can now go and see, I can open that invoice in Xero, which is great. So there, depending on whatever we had set up, has now pushed through. But what I can also do is for invoices, and this will become fully automated in a future release, but for anyone here, so if I just go to this unpaid invoice for Lee Williams over here, maybe pick another one. Yeah, let's pick Lee Williams, Gmail. See, I do a lot of testing. But here you can see that we actually have the ability, now that I have a payment on file, a payment source on file, I can actually just process payment directly for this from within OnboardMe. So, yep. Am I sure I want to process this payment? Yes. And we will go and we will do an instant credit card transaction against that client's account. And then all of that stuff, again, pretty much shows all up in Pinch. So I'm inside of our Pinch account. So here we can see there's the invoices for Joe Taylor. There's the line items, all of that stuff that we've done, the invoices there, process payments, all of that stuff. So again, we're doing all of this live. We're doing all of this on the spot. No overnight background processing for payments and that kind of thing. We're trying to, you want to get paid upfront, and you want to get paid now. So yeah, that's realistically, in a nutshell, is what I wanted to cover in today's session. We have a little bit of time left. So what I'd probably like to do is I'm going to jump back to the slideshow and just discuss the roadmap and what we're doing. So again, we're live here. So what we're busy with right now is we're busy building PDF for onboarding and engagements. We've already got the PDF for onboarding done, and multi-business support. So 2 out of the 3 things that are in now are actually done in the product. And the other one is my PM integration, my practice management / GreatSoft, depending on the name and region. That integration is currently underway. What's next for us? So we're looking to do family group engagements. It was something that was requested quite a lot during our beta. It's not something that you have to do. You can still do individual engagements if you'd like to. We're building integration into MYB Business and FYI Elite. We're also doing automated payments. So we'll automatically sync invoices to Xero every day. But when the due date comes up for the invoice, we will, if a client has a payment source set up, we'll automatically do a payment from that. And then we're looking the ID verification stuff, which is the selfie stuff. And then depending on demand, if people do want us to plug into an actual ID verification service, like a Stripe or something like that, we'll probably build that out as and when we need to. And then looking into the later kind of stuff. So integration into Carbon, again, has come up quite a bit. The same thing for QuickBooks, being able to bring your own signatures. So we don't do e-signing or that kind of thing. So if you want to be able to bring your own signature system and be able to use that instead of using ours, we will look to integrate into those. And then the longer term dream is probably the data management aspect. So being able to actually sync all of your unpaid invoices directly into OnboardMe and be able to then automatically take payments from within OnboardMe using our automated payment system using Pinch. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Again, roadmaps can change depending on what comes up from customers, that kind of thing. So yeah, we've got a lot underway, but we're really super awesome. Like we're hoping for good feedback. We've had great feedback so far, and yeah, any kind of feedback, please send it across. Don't be scared. I think just in wrapping up, thank you for those of you who have joined us today. We do have a special offer, a special launch offer, a special Pinch offer, which is you get a 14-day free trial, which you can go and sign up for right now. But also for those of you who have attended the webinar, you have the ability to, if you do decide to sign up, we'll give you an additional month free using the code Take a Pinch Off. So you'll get the 14 days at the end of your trial. If you wish to extend that, if you'd like to actually become a full-time customer, you can use the code Take a Pinch Off, and that'll give you the first month free upfront. And that is it. I've spoken a lot for the last 50 minutes. Questions?
Plenty of them, I imagine, Lee. Thank you very much. I have flagged a few questions in the Q&A section, so I'll just pop those up on screen now, give you a chance to have a little bit of water, freshen up your throat.
Yeah.
And then we'll open the floor to anyone else who wants to ask questions, and we'll just work our way through. But look, thank you so much for showing us all those great features. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us through the technical issues. And we'll have the recording available sometime after this session for anyone watching back at home that wasn't able to re-access the session. If you're good now, Lee, I can pop the first question up on the screen.
Yeah, so I think the first question's actually just come up, which is pricing. So pricing is available. Pricing is available on our website. I didn't want to put that in the slideshow and that kind of thing. Pricing, Melissa, is on our website. So if you go to onboardme.app, which actually I probably, yeah. So pricing is a question. So yeah, if you go to our website, we've got multiple pricing tiers and different pricing packages. So you can go monthly, quarterly, or annually. If you go annual, you do only pay for 11 out of the 12 months. So if you use the code and you elect to go annual, you'll actually be getting 2 months off. So so it's a pretty good deal. And we are request based. So everything that you see in the app is available, if even on our lowest plan. It's just the number of engagements or onboardings or acceptances that you send count towards your request count per month. You can also, if you want to start small, you can also ad hoc buy more requests, but you can also just use the system and just upgrade or even downgrade if you wanted to in-app. But yeah, you can look at our website. We're trying to be as transparent as possible with our pricing and try and make it as easy as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Ali, that's a good one. So the hourly like no fixed fees. It's something that we're busy working through the ideation of. So for those guys who do like post work billing, we are busy looking at a way for you to one of two things, and that kind of falls into that data management aspect, is being able to still send an engagement out for kind of a price range, which was an easy one, that's the easier part.
That's a good question. I know Sarah's next question might connect into this as well, speaking a little bit about potential uses of OnboardMe for the service-based industries, where a lot of those service-based industries are billing at an hourly rate and a range, and we want to give their clients some form of range of billing.
Yeah, so yeah, it is something that we are busy actively working on right now. We're just busy doing the discovery bit and all of that to work out how you can do an estimate pricing. So you'll send the engagement out with a pricing range, either that's hourly or it's kind of an estimate, like the lower to the end of the price. And then that data management aspect will allow us to, if you do that invoice in your practice management system, to be able to ingest it. Alternatively, we are looking at ways for you to just be able to, on the engagement, and I'm just spitballing the ideas that have come to us, is on the engagement, because you put the range there, you click a button to say, I'd now like to generate the bill, and this was the final amount, and then just leverage all the information, the engagement, the services, all of that stuff, which is really an OnboardMe. So we don't have an answer to that right now, but we are working through through the different options.
Sweet. This one will be this is a great one from Chris. Lee, you'll love this one.
Chris, you have my email. Let's talk. We don't currently right now have the ability to do it, but me and the team we're more than happy to help you get on board. See what I did.
I guess this probably needs a little bit more elaboration from you as well, Chris. Are you talking about specifically bringing all of your data across from Ignition, or just the actual payment methods that you may have captured within Ignition? Because we at Pinch Payments may have the capacity to help you migrate the actual payment sources from a system like Ignition or any other systems that you might be using to store and manage payment methods, and directly ingest those into Pinch to actually help expedite the process, at which point, if you've got a bunch of customers who already have payment methods, Lee's system will be able to see all of those, and you'll be able to expedite a lot of the onboarding process.
I think if you're talking about the actual engagement services, though, so your service library, that's not something that we currently like. It's not something that we can just grab out of Ignition. But if you can give it to me in Excel or CSV, we'll import it for you. That is something that we are looking to do, is being able to build and import. So yeah, we're happy to kind of work through that with you while we don't have a robust in-app solution right now.
That's great. All right, looks like 2 more questions, and that'll probably wrap us up for time. This one from Jasmine, sorry.
Yeah, so absolutely. So like more placeholders into the engagement terms for sure. So what we have right now is kind of the first cut of it. We've been waiting for feedback on what kind of merge fields people would like. And yeah, send those through to us. Inside of the app, there's a help and support. You can actually just send requests directly through us through the app. Or you can just email the support desk with whatever suggestions you have. And at the rate at which we are moving, we won't take long.
Beauty. All right, and probably the last question that we have time for today from Alicia.
Yeah, so you can still request payment details up front, even though you don't take payment up front. So if you have Pinch enabled on the onboarding, we will always prompt them to create a billing profile. And it's some settings that we're busy playing with right now. So yes, even if you have Pinch but you don't do upfront billing, you can still collect the payment details upfront. And then the idea is that once you have the payment profile, you can actually go and just initiate payment yourself based on an invoice. But once we have our later stage where we're actually bringing in invoices, or you want to one-click create that within OnboardMe, you'll be able to take payment from the existing payment profile that they've set up.
Amazing. Cool. All right. Look, I think that's everything that we have time for today. We've kept it right on time, which is awesome. Well done, Lee. Thank you for showing us your fantastic platform. For anyone who's still with us, you will see that there's a CTA at the bottom of the page for you to take advantage of that awesome offer that Lee is offering. Feel free to click on that, and that will take you to that registration page for the OnboardMe platform. Lee, if anyone wants to contact you, get a bit more info, get a bit more understanding, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
So I mean, yeah, you can go to support@onboardme.app or info. I'm pretty sure my email address is in the recording. My mobile number might be too as well. So I'm an open book. So please don't feel ashamed to contact me directly. We're trying to listen to our customers, and I'm meeting with them. I met with a customer earlier today. So yeah, again, we're trying to be open and honest. So just LinkedIn me. Probably don't Facebook me unless you Chris likes to Facebook me. Message you. But no, so yeah, email me, LinkedIn me, anything like that, and yeah, I'm not going to leave you unread. Yeah, but please, any questions, suggestions, anything like that. If you want a more in-depth demo, yeah, you're welcome to reach out, and we'll get that organized.
Amazing. Awesome. All right. Well, look, thank you very much, Lee. Thank you very much for attending and sticking with us through a little bit of a rocky start. For any of you that will be watching this back, you will receive an email of the link to watch the recording. And for anyone else here on the session, you will also be able to access the recording. Due to that technical issue, the recording does currently take you to that first 7 minutes of our session, but it will get overwritten soon. And we will ensure that we get that recording into your hands. So thank you all so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And thanks, Cam, for hosting.
No worries. That's all right. Always happy to showcase awesome systems built using Pinch payments.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, everybody.
All righty. We'll end the session there now, and look forward to seeing everyone on the next session. Bye.